GeForce RTX 4070 Super has been tested that features max TDP of 350 watts. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 Super is now available at $599 and UK pricing is already below MSRP. Geekom Mini-PC comes with Ryzen 8940HS and Radeon RX 7600M XT. CPU-Z has added Intel Arrow Lake and AMD Hawkpoint support. AMD FSR 3 with frame generation is now available in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. And lastly, AMD Radeon RX 7900 XT has got an official price cut. Okay, so firstly we have the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4070 Super AORUS Master has been reviewed by Tech Power Up, and basically you can already see that the RTX 4070 Super AORUS Master is kind of close, but basically the AORUS Master is $100 more premium for that, which is, well, I guess it kind of makes sense because, you know, it's a premium model from Gigabyte, and we already seen from the Asus or even other models going even beyond 400 to 300 euros or even dollars. So it's kind of a bit pricey. But in terms of spec, we have some similarities compared to the RTX 4070 Ti. But it's really surprising is that in terms of performance, on average, it's like 3% slower compared to the 4070 Ti, which is kind of surprising because 4070 Ti is more expensive, but the RTX 4070, you can get that the MSRP of $600. So it's really interesting that the position that they're going for, because I don't think the RTX 4070 will be a very good choice now, because only 3% is not a big deal, and you can get that for less than $150, which is the RTX 4070 Super. So very interesting pricing from NVIDIA, which was unexpected, but yep. So this is the card has been tested, which looks, I mean, the same as the other models that we have seen. It literally is the AORUS Master accent they're going for, which is one interesting thing I want to talk about, is that this is one thing that I didn't notice they would add, but they have added, which is basically a power cord. I don't know how you spell that, anyways. Yeah, basically when when your PC is completely turned off, if you connect it with this power cord, the GPU RGB will still be on, which is like, I mean, I guess if you want to make your GPU glow all the time, maybe you can do that, but it's a really weird thing to add. But yeah, either way, it's a similar thing. It's a similar GPU, so yeah, it has been tested already, and let's see what happens with the test. On Plague Tale Requiem, this is the first gaming bench we're looking at, which is right over here. As you can see, the RTX 4070 Super AORUS Master is getting 146.4 on 1080p, of course. And look at the 4070 Ti, 150. So that's what I'm talking about. It's so on par. Like 4 FPS deficit is not really a big difference, right? And even in 1440p, we're looking at like 104.8 versus 109. Again, not a huge difference at all, and it also comes with 12 gigs of VRAM. So basically an RTX 4070 Ti with $150 less. It's crazy. I mean, for this model, it's like basically a $50 less, but still, like, you're getting $50 cut and a good amount of performance. So I don't mind that, really, because it's a really good deal. Also in 4K, we're getting 52.9 and the 55.3. So again, not a huge difference when you compare to this particular model, of course. And yes, the 4070 Ti is getting 58, so 3 FPS. Basically, that's what I'm talking about. Again, in Alan Wake 2 in 1080p is getting 99.5 compared to 4070 Ti, which is 102. Not a huge difference. You could just say it's literally the same, right? It's not a huge difference at all. Even in the 1440p, 74.2 versus 77.2. Not a big difference at all. And in 4K, it's a bit of a difference here, because you can see 3.6 and 40.9. Still, I mean, I wouldn't really consider playing Alan Wake 2 on 4K though, unless you enable DLSS. That might be, you know, something else to consider. But yeah, it's not a huge deficit here, so very good performance. In Assassin's Creed Mirage, it's basically on par, I would say, 154, 150, and then in 1440p, 120.6, 124.6, like literally the same. I could say that, like, even if you say that, okay, 4 FPS matters, I think not, because 72.3, 74.1, not a big deal. Even right here in 4070 Ti, it was getting like 77. Again, not a big deal at all. Like it's too good. Like even the FE and the AORUS Master didn't really have a big difference. That's why I said MSRP models are good enough. You don't really need to go for these high-end models, because just 2 FPS, 3 FPS, or even 6 FPS, not a big deal. You can literally overclock the FE of the RTX 4070 Super and you'll still be good to go, right? We also have many more games like the Atomic Heart, and again, similar case. I'm telling you, literally all the games that I've looked into from Tech Power Up, it's literally the same case. Like it's solid, really, and you can get that for $600. And if you want to look into the whole benchmark, I will link that in the description. You can look into it, but truly no need to, because it's literally the same all over the case. It's like 3%, 4%, 5% max, I believe, would be the difference. It's just a small difference, and I feel like if it's not a 10% difference, I don't think it's a big deal to even look into. So I feel like RTX 4070 Super is just a best deal that you can get for $600, and 4070 Ti might get obsolete, absolutely. And as I mentioned in the intro, the pricing is literally $599, which is very much available. Well, not basically this model. This model is out of stock. There's plenty of more models you're looking at. This one, however, is very much expensive, which is $679, and I feel like $80 more, and you can get this kind of aesthetics. Yeah, sure, why not? No big deal. Again, we get to see the AORUS Master. As I said, it's coming at $700, $100 more premium, but you also get a premium looking card. But in my opinion, it's not really worth it, because MSRP models are doing great, and some of the aesthetics in MSRP models are also pretty looking good, you know? Like this one here, RTX 4070, only $50 increase. Gigabyte, not a bad card, and it looks good. $50 extra, I don't mind that. PNY, I don't really want to buy this card at all, because PNY and the VRAM doesn't really look, or the cooling I should say, doesn't really look that great, but it's available, I guess. But Gigabyte has more like the MSRP model, which is right here, even though it's like premium, only $30, so again, no big deal. We also have like MSI, and I feel like this is a better deal, because Ventus looks good. I know it doesn't have any RGB, but if you're looking for performance and the pricing is there, $599, so like it's a huge good deal in my opinion. And of course, the infamous Zotac, it also looks pretty good, and some models comes with RGB, I guess. Maybe not this one. I think it does though. I could be wrong, but I think it does come with RGB a little bit. So if you're interested in RGB, and if you're looking for like a a smaller card, a low profile, I should say, even though it's not really a low profile card, it still is looking pretty neat, and it comes with $629, close to like the MSRP, but not close enough. And yeah, this is the same model as I mentioned already, which is in Amazon. You can get it for the same price, and this one is a bit taller. I don't understand why, or maybe like it's just the color is a bit different. Yeah, it does seem like it's a different color, so I don't know what they were doing with this, but yeah, you can get that. And this one is in stock, as I mentioned, so that stock is going out very quick for some reason, and I wouldn't be surprised, because it's a really good priced card. So yeah. And as I mentioned, in UK, you can get this card even below MSRP. So right now, we're looking at from XCOM, and this is the GeForce RTX from Gainward RTX 4070 Super Ghost. I like that name, of course, which is coming at PLN of 2,849, and PLN means Polish currency, so I'm not really sure what the whole name is, but if you're from Poland, you can really, or if you're from UK, you can really get this card for literally below MSRP, because when you convert that to, the USDs, which is not really an apples to apples comparison, because there's tax rate and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like this is a really good price here, because I've converted that, and it does seem like that it is the case. It's below 5%, around 5% MSRP. We also have more like the Eno 3D has introduced this card here, which again, it's a MSRP model, but it is below MSRP because it's 655 euros, and I think the MSRP for that is I'm guessing like a 670 or 680 or even below that when you compare that. I'm not really sure how much of a difference this one has, but yeah, it's still below MSRP, so it's pretty neat. And 3dcenter.org has listed this already, which is right over here, the GeForce RTX 4070 Supermarket start plus 19 hours, and they have given the starting MSRPs, which is 659 euros. I was a bit off, because not 670 the MSRP, it's 659. So yeah, compared to the pricing that we got to see, 655, yeah, it's not a huge deficit here, but still below MSRP. That's what matters, right? So yeah, 659 is the MSRP, but we get to see 655, 654, and 629, and these are the outlets that you can get. So that's really interesting, already below MSRP. And I believe this particular model, which model I'm not sure, but Ditech, is selling at 629, which is the craziest part here because they're going below MSRP, which is surprising because it's already just launched and you can get that for below MSRP, which is surprising to say the least. So yeah, it's interesting to see how the market will play out. Hopefully the demand is good enough so that it can offer people enough GPUs, because already they're getting out of stock. So I'm hoping that scalping won't be an issue. Hoping. So recently AMD has launched their 8000 APUs, right? The Ryzen 8000 APUs, and we already have a mini PC here. Geekom has presented this mini PC over here, which is interesting because it comes with Ryzen 9 8940HS and a Radeon RX 7600M XT GPU, of course. And this mini PC looks like a mini PS5, even though it's not really going to be delivering the similar performance, or maybe it will, who knows. But we have to test the 7600M first to see that, or even the CPU power itself, so we're not sure about that. But yeah, the PC itself, the mini PC, looks very similar to PS5, not entirely of course, but you could say it's like a mini version of PS5 Slim, right? I'm just kidding, it's not really the same, but yeah, it looks good. And these are the IOs. Let's look into it, shall we? So 2 USB 4 Type-C ports, 2 of them. I'm seeing this trend, they're introducing 2 USB Type-C, so that's really neat. I really like that. 6 USB 3.2 Type-A ports, which is nice. 2 HDMI ports, 2 DisplayPort 1.4, and again HDMI is coming with 2.0, not 2.1, so that's kind of but then again, no worries. And 2.5 gigs of Ethernet port, of course, 1 3.5mm microphone, and a headset, and 1 SD card reader. So that's really neat. It looks really compact, and I really like the aesthetic because you can already see it. And look at the I/O here. It's packed. It's literally packed. I feel like some motherboards don't really have that many IOs available. So that's really nice, you know, that this mini PC comes with all of that. And yeah, it looks like a mini PC. I can't get my head around that because it really does. Hopefully it will make the same sound, right? But yeah, it's a good concept, and I feel like they will be releasing it soon. At CES they represented that. It's not in the market yet, but hopefully they will, because I really like that. And next up we have a video cards article, and they're saying that CPU-Z has added support for the Arrow Lake and also the AMD Hawk Point support. So let's look into it. So these are the basically the CPU-Z 2.09. Yes, that's the update they introduced, and these are the updates that include, I'm sorry about that. These are the updates. Improved support for Intel Meteor Lake and preliminary support of Arrow Lake. That would mean that they're getting prepared to launch Arrow Lake, which is surprising because Meteor Lake just hit the shelf and not entirely launched yet, but Arrow Lake is already here, so that's quite interesting. They also added the AMD Hawk Point and Hawk Point 2, which is the Zen 4, Zen 4C, you know, those big dot little design. And I would be interested to see what happens with the Hawk Point, because I feel like they're going to be directly competing with the Arrow Lake, not the Meteor Lake, because, you know, Meteor Lake's like a filler kind of architecture between the Raptor Lake Plus and Arrow Lake, so we'll see about that. And also they have added NVIDIA RTX 4070 Super, which is again that recently launched, and the benchmark can now be ran on a single core set / cluster. So that is an addition, an extra feature they've added, so we'll look into that. But yeah, like they have introduced preliminary support for Arrow Lake. AMD Hawk Point support is already here. That would mean, because, you know, the 8000 series of, you know, CPUs or APUs I should say are already getting launched, and they will be in the market soon, so they have to include that. So yeah, I'm quite interested to see what Arrow Lake has to offer, because it will be going head to head with AMD Hawk Point. And next up we have a Reddit user just posted this, which is the FSR 3.0 is now available for COD MW3, which is the 2023 version, of course, not the other older version, even though I prefer that one. The latest one isn't really that great. I played that, and anyway, it isn't really that great. Warzone, however, is fun to play, that is for sure, which is replacing the FSR 2.1 option, which is kind of makes sense because that's what they would do. And for some reason the picture won't open. So anyway, we look into here, right here, as you can see, AMD FSR preset native, and the FSR frame generation is right over here, which is on. That would mean that FSR 3 is enabled here, because, you know, without FSR 3 you can't really turn on the frame generation at all. So yeah, there we go. It is available now, FSR 3, which is says right over here. And yeah, basically it does support. I wonder the fluid motion supports too, because I'm guessing it doesn't because it's like a driver thing that they'll have to add, and I think they haven't added that yet. Otherwise, they would say it in the driver. So that would mean that only FSR 3 frame generation is there, and FSR 3 preset, or the presets are you can toggle in. But I don't think the frame generation, or I should say the fluid motion tech, is not available, which would be coming with the Hyper RX. I believe that would be the case, but for now that isn't really coming with episode 3 in Call of Duty. So, but still, it's something. And next up, we have more pricing information, and that is a surprise. I think this particular pricing came in counter with the 7900 XT, or I should say the RTX 4070, because we have to think about the AMD's counterpart here, and now AMD's counterpart is the RX 7900 XT, which, as you can see right over here, it has a huge price cut of around $90. In some cases, this particular variant is going for $90 cut here, so it's a huge cut. You could see 709.99, basically 710 for the ASRock Phantom Gaming, which is the most popular variant for the RX 7900 XT or even XTX, because this particular model is the MSRP card, and it's coming with a very cheap price, and it's already available, so you can get that. And also the Sapphire Pulse 729, the Parcolor Hellhound is coming at 749, and the ASRock Phantom Gaming, which is a white variant card, I like that card, 739. And we also have the XFX Speedster Mark. Not really a big fan because of the thermal issues and stuff, even though that's not really a big deal, but thermals are compared to others are worse. But anyways, it's coming with 729, and this particular model is, I feel like they didn't really do any price cut over this one, the Asus TUF, which is strange. Asus always does that, and that's why I hate would be a bad word to use. I just don't prefer Asus in general because they don't want to give offers, it seems like, and other models are doing that, so they should do it, right? But they're not doing it. But you can get these cards for 709 or 729, 749, 739, either way. And this is very much visible why they're doing this is because RTX 4070 Super at the price point of 600 is a very good deal. So I would be very much worried for AMD here, because even if RX 7900 XT coming with 20 gigs of VRAM, in terms of like ray tracing performance, we've already seen that RTX 4070 Ti was already performing very good, and now the for RTX 4070 Super is like head to head with the RTX 4070 Ti. I feel like that would be a better deal compared to this particular variant, because even though it gives you more VRAM and more rasterization, I feel like if you're interested in like a DLSS or ray tracing or many other features that NVIDIA is offering, because NVIDIA is also offering in terms of developers side, it is a better driver support, in terms of the codec, it's better. So I feel like it's gonna be a bit problematic for AMD to sell this card, because even 709, is it really a good deal? I'm not sure, you tell me, but I feel like NVIDIA is really in a good position right now, even after this price cut. So yeah, what do you think about the RTX 4070 Super? Because it's quite interesting, the position. I feel like RTX 4070 Ti is gonna go absolutely obsolete. That's one way to say that. And of course, the Radeon RX 7900 XT. Is it really a good deal now? Now that we have RTX 4070 Super, you tell me. Comment below. I want to know. And of course, have a good day.